In the world of cultivators, fate often turned on things too small to be noticed. A fleeting thought, a hidden intent, a single fragment of spiritual sense extinguished in silence. When such threads were severed, the heavens did not always respond at once. But somewhere far beyond mortal sight, ancient schemes would begin to stir, and the echoes of that seemingly insignificant act would slowly ripple outward, carrying consequences no one could yet foresee. Unaware of this, Han Li moved calmly through the world, believing that what he had erased was no more than a trace, never knowing that it was the first crack in something vast and buried for millennia. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. The woman's voice lingered in hesitation. After a brief silence, she released a soft sigh and spoke. Several years ago, while your majesty remained in slumber, the prince dispatched an incarnation to the surface world. His intention was to draw upon the power of moonlight to refine a treasure. However, just as he was about to conduct the master recognition ceremony, a group of mortal cultivators suddenly intruded from outside. At the time, the prince was in the midst of absorbing moonlight, causing most of the palace's restrictions to remain dormant. As a result, those cultivators managed to force their way into the prince's main chamber. With no other choice, the prince temporarily halted the ceremony and activated the corpse puppets to deal with the intruders. Yet one among them proved unusually perceptive. He discerned the prince's true identity as a corpse monarch and immediately begged for his life, offering to submit to any restriction in exchange for survival. Seeing potential in him, the prince accepted and placed him under a binding restriction. "And what does this have to do with the vajra relic?" the middle-aged man asked impatiently, his voice cold. "Please calm yourself, your majesty," the woman hurried to explain. The key point lies in the idea that old man proposed. He claimed that he could easily gather cultivators' primal souls from the outside world, sparing us the trouble of seeking them out ourselves. Oh, the man's tone shifted, tinged with interest. "Tell me how he intended to do this." "It was quite simple," she replied. "He suggested that the prince hand over a rare and unusual treasure to him, with a strand of spiritual sense secretly concealed within. He would then sell this item to wandering cultivators, luring them into taking the initiative to seek out the prince's tomb. Most would naturally meet their demise upon arriving, but should any fail to reach the tomb, the hidden spiritual sense would find an opportunity to activate the concealed restrictions within the treasure, exterminating the holder and imprisoning their soul within the item before returning it to the tomb. However, this plan required a treasure so rare it was seldom seen, and the prince's spiritual sense as well as the corpse flame contained within had to be perfectly concealed. Otherwise, everything would be for naught. "There's no need to continue," the middle-aged man interrupted coldly. "The prince must have handed the vajra relic to that old man before the treasure completed its master recognition. Only with the relic's Buddhist nature could the corpse chi be concealed." "That is exactly as your majesty surmised," the woman said. "Once the treasure recognizes the prince as its master, the vajra relic would no longer be able to suppress the corpse chi." Given the immense number of cultivator souls the prince required, he took the risk and handed it over beforehand. "I also specifically instructed that old man not to provoke cultivators above the core formation stage, to avoid drawing attention. Over the past few years, many cultivators were delivered without incident, but now it seems he disobeyed, resulting in the treasure being seized and the prince's strand of spiritual sense destroyed. We will soon activate the restriction on his primal soul and interrogate him properly." The middle-aged man snorted coldly. "How many cultivator souls did this petty scheme yield? I already have General G preparing something. Once his plan is complete, we will have a steady supply of cultivator souls. There will be no further need to lure them in so crudely." "Is that why your majesty brought General G outside several years ago and returned alone?" the woman asked in shock. "Yes," he replied. "General G is now impersonating another identity, controlling a cultivator clan and forcing them to serve us. To conceal himself, he even manipulated an alliance of clans into exterminating one of Buddhist origin. The elders of that Buddhist clan sensed something amiss and attempted to inform a nearby Buddhist sect. But I personally exterminated their core formation cultivators. Afterward, General Ji led the other clans in massacring the remainder. A sinister chuckle escaped the man's lips, laced with unmistakable satisfaction. Stunned, the woman asked, "Then your Majesty's plan is—" "Heh. It's nothing complicated," the man said calmly. "You are bound to realize it sooner or later. This was an idea given to me by the Heaven-Wind monarch of Fangjian Mountain during his last visit. He employed the same method and has yet to be exposed. So long as we proceed carefully, we will have no shortage of cultivator souls for the next 300 years. Even if something goes wrong, we can simply relocate the tomb and vanish. Aside from a few ancient eccentrics in Great Jin who could possibly stop me, the Heaven-Wind monarch," the woman murmured anxiously. "He is certainly no ordinary figure. Why would he reveal such a secret to your Majesty? Could he be plotting something?" "A plot, of course he was plotting something," the man snapped. "He took 3 heart-blood pills as payment." "Even so, I still feel uneasy," the woman said softly. "There is nothing good to be said about Fangjin Mountain's devil pair. Perhaps he wishes to lure your Majesty away from the tomb. As long as our 3 souls remain fused with it, few could defeat us within." The man fell silent for a moment before speaking solemnly. "Beloved concubine, your concerns are reasonable. I will take precautions. Whenever I leave, I will fully activate the tomb's restrictions and exercise caution. The devil pair will never learn of my departure. As long as your Majesty is careful, everything will be fine," the woman replied sweetly. "In truth, there is no need for your Majesty to act personally. You may simply entrust the matter to me or your incarnations. So long as you remain safe, I am willing to face any formidable foe." "Haha, you may not realize this, but for the plan to succeed, I must bring every noble clan in Guaning Prefecture under my control," the man explained patiently. "When I last ventured out, I had to deal with that eccentric Kong without damaging his body. I suffered minor injuries and withdrew. As for the other 2 noble clans, though they lacked nascent soul cultivators, their origins were far from ordinary. They possess rare treasures specifically effective against heretics like us. I suspect their founding sects established them to monitor me. However, after more than 1,000 years of dormancy, they grew complacent. Now I can eliminate them all in one stroke. By the time those sects discover the truth and act, years will have passed, and I will have broken through to the next realm, refining a heavenly corpse body with the aid of those cultivator souls. Then I congratulate your Majesty in advance," the woman said joyfully. "Once you refine a heavenly corpse body, you will no longer be bound to this tomb." The man chuckled. "When that time comes, I will cast a technique to free both your soul and the prince's from this place. Your Majesty must also remember the vajra relic," the woman reminded him. "It is an invaluable treasure, capable of rendering you invulnerable for a short time." When that old monk released his crystal relic, it took 3 full days of corpse fire before your Majesty exhausted its golden radiance and slew him. Now that it has been refined into a vajra barrier, its power may be even greater. "Beloved concubine, are you confused?" the man sneered. "The vajra barrier can only be refined by corpse monarchs 10,000 years of age. It is impossible for human cultivators. Aside from myself, the only other such existence is primeval corpse Xiong of Myriad Demon Valley. No human cultivator would dare approach that place. As long as the Myriad Demon flag remains, neither righteous nor devil sects would risk entering." "That is true," the woman admitted, though her tone remained gloomy. "Still, that treasure is perfectly suited to us. Once we discover who obtained it, we should dispatch men to reclaim it." "Even if you hadn't mentioned it, I would have done so," the man replied. "But since that person noticed the prince's strand of spiritual sense within the Vajra barrier, he is no ordinary cultivator. Once we locate the treasure, I will send 2 incarnations to retrieve it. As long as he isn't a mid-nascent soul cultivator, there will be no issue. I also want to go." The tall silhouette, shrouded in black chi, finally broke his silence. "How do you expect to go?" the middle-aged man rebuked coldly. "You cannot suppress the corpse chi within your body. Any cultivator would see through your true nature at once. Stop spouting nonsense and return to the coffin to cultivate." Dejected, the towering figure waved his furry green arm weakly before lying down. Yet within the swirling black chi, his eyes glowed crimson, blazing with suppressed fury. The stone coffin lid flew up from the ground and sealed itself shut once more. Over 1,000 kilometers away, Hanli had no idea that extinguishing that insignificant strand of spiritual sense would trigger such grave consequences. At this moment he stared at the weeping soul beast within the golden bubble, his expression flickering uncertainly. Meanwhile, as Jin Yuan returned to his own room, grey flames suddenly erupted over his entire body. In an instant his flesh disintegrated into ash and scattered into the air. His primal soul remained intact within the flames, but it trembled in sheer terror. Soon an invisible force seized him. Wrapped in a sphere of grey fire, his primal soul shot through the half-open window and vanished completely without leaving behind a single trace. After spending a long while inside the hidden fortune room, Hanli finally decided to place the weeping soul beast, still sealed within the golden bubble, into his storage pouch. He then stepped outside and reduced the hidden fortune room back to its original size. Upon returning to the main hall, he handed the room back to the middle-aged woman before heading toward the plaza. By then it was already afternoon. The number of cultivators present had dwindled to nearly half of what it had been before. All of them were moving toward a peculiar stone building to participate in the auction. Without hesitation, Hanli followed along. A white-robed cultivator stationed at the auction entrance noticed Hanli and greeted him with a salute. "Fellow Taoist, to prevent excessive idle spectators, we are charging 3 spirit stones to participate in the auction." Hanli smiled faintly. Without a word, he pressed his hand to his storage pouch and produced 3 spirit stones, handing them over. The white-robed cultivator smiled in return and passed him a palm-sized jade plate, allowing him to enter. As Hanli walked through the entrance, he glanced down at the jade plate. Etched into its surface were the silver characters 243. Aside from that, it appeared entirely unremarkable. After proceeding through a passageway nearly 60 meters long, he arrived before a door radiating white light. 4 cultivators stood guard before it. Upon seeing Hanli, they silently examined him with expressionless faces. Hanli paid them no mind. He walked straight past, pushed open the door, and entered the main hall. At once a loud male voice rang out, "A 500-year-old phoenix tail flower, 790 spirit stones. Is there anyone bidding higher? No. Then this spirit herb goes to fellow Taoist, 130. Please proceed to the rear shortly to settle payment." Hanli swept his gaze across the hall and saw that over 200 cultivators were already seated. Each sat before an individual table, with their jade plates placed atop them, the silver numbers gleaming clearly. At the front of the stone hall stood a blue-robed middle-aged man with an imposing bearing. As he spoke, he held open a jade box containing a vivid purple flower. The purchaser of the spirit herb was a plump, elderly man. Once the auctioneer confirmed the winning bid, he rose with a delighted expression and hurried toward the side door, clearly eager to claim his prize. Hanli observed the scene with indifference before walking toward a nearby empty seat. He sat down upon a chair carved from pure white stone. Its jade-like luster and gentle warmth immediately piqued his interest. "This is," Hanli murmured inwardly, pausing as he searched through his memories of known materials only to find none that matched it. His lips curved faintly in surprise. "Fellow Taoist, is this your first time seeing Warmstone?" A woman's voice suddenly sounded beside him, accompanied by a soft, amused giggle. Warmstone Hanli turned his head and saw 2 young female cultivators standing nearby. They resembled one another so closely that they could have been sisters. One wore yellow robes, the other green. Both were undeniably beautiful. The one clad in green standing closer was the speaker, clearly amused by Han Li's curiosity as he touched the table. "Little sister, mind your words," the yellow-robed woman quickly chided. Turning to Han Li, she said apologetically, "Fellow Taoist, please don't take offense. My younger cousin has only recently left the clan and still speaks rather rashly. I hope you can forgive her." Younger cousin. So they aren't blood sisters, Han Li thought with mild surprise. Still, for both to have reached the foundation establishment stage at such a young age, their aptitudes were clearly exceptional. With that in mind, he smiled lightly and said, "It's no issue. I've heard of Warmstone before, but this is my first time seeing it. Does fellow Taoist know more about it? It can't be a common material otherwise. I would have encountered it during my years cultivating in the wilderness. Warmstone is entirely different from warm jade," the yellow-robed woman explained with a gentle smile. "It's not strange that fellow Taoist hasn't heard of it. This material is rarely found elsewhere. It's a specialty of the snow-mound mountains. Aside from being warm to the touch and exceptionally white, it has no other remarkable properties. Still, it's far more valuable than the jade commonly found in the mortal world. So that's how it is. Many thanks for the explanation." Han Li nodded in understanding. His expression soon turned neutral as he shifted his gaze toward the middle-aged auctioneer, who was now presenting a top-grade magic tool. His reaction caused the green-robed woman to narrow her eyes slightly, her lips curling in faint disdain. Just as she was about to speak again, her older cousin shot her a stern glance, forcing her into silence. Han Li paid them no further attention, calmly watching the magic tools and spirit herbs as they were brought up for auction. Though the auction hosted by local clans was bound to be somewhat lacking, Han Li observed carefully. After all, prices in Great Jin differed vastly from those in the Heavenly South. This knowledge would be useful when he later sought rare materials. After some time, he arrived at a conclusion: whether spirit herbs or magic tools, prices here were significantly higher than in the Heavenly South. The rarer the item, the more exorbitant the cost. Upon reflection, the reason became clear. Though Great Jin was more than 10 times larger than the Heavenly South, it also housed far more cultivators due to its complete cultivation legacies. This resulted in a severe shortage of magic tools and medicinal resources. Conversely, Great Jin was rich in raw materials. It undoubtedly possessed rare items that could never be found in the Heavenly South or even the scattered star seas. In this single auction alone, Han Li had already seen several medicinal herbs and refining materials unfamiliar to him. This realization filled Han Li with quiet delight. It seemed that if he visited the high-grade market cities of Great Jin, he might truly obtain the rare materials he needed. Just as this thought crossed his mind, the blue-robed auctioneer announced the next item. A tray was brought forth, bearing 3 deep red crystals that shimmered with flickering light like blazing flames. 3 firesmelt crystals, the auctioneer announced with a smile. An excellent material for refining top-grade fire attribute magic tools. Fellow Taoists' bidding will begin at 500 spirit stones. Han Li gave them a casual glance and was about to look away when his gaze abruptly froze and he let out a small yelp. From deep within his mind, Monarch Soul Divergence's lazy voice sounded out, "Youngster Han, judging by your reaction, it seems those gems have caught your eye." "Gems," Han Li replied through voice transmission with a chuckle. "It seems there are times when even senior can be mistaken." What Monarch Soul Divergence said doubtfully. "There's nothing particularly special about those crystals. Though my cultivation is gone, my spiritual sense remains intact. I don't believe I'm mistaken." Han Li replied calmly, his tone tinged with something strange. "My experience may still be lacking, but I dare say there are few in this world with more experience handling demon beast cores than me." Demon beast cores. Monarch Soul Divergence was stunned. Hearing the confidence in Han Li's voice, he hesitated. Were it not for the many years spent alongside Han Li, he would have assumed the youth was mistaken. After a moment of silence, he said, "Since you're so certain, there must be a reason. But until I see evidence, I can't believe there's something unusual about these fire-smelt crystals. Needless to say, I'm not the only one who failed to notice anything. Even the auction appraiser's veterans in identifying rare items found nothing exceptional. Han Li merely smiled. He calmly raised his bid, forcing the remaining competitors to retreat one by one. Delighted by the high final price, the auctioneer glanced at Han Li's jade plate and announced loudly, 800 spirit stones. The 3 firesmelt crystals go to fellow Taoist. 243. Please proceed to the rear hall to complete payment. Han Li collected his jade plate and walked toward the side hall. A white-robed qi condensation cultivator was waiting there. Upon seeing Han Li, he quickly led him into a small waiting room at the rear. Moments later, a servant girl entered, set down a cup of tea, and departed. Han Li merely glanced at the tea and left it untouched as he calmly examined the room. Before long, a bald elderly cultivator at the foundation establishment stage entered wearing a broad, welcoming smile. I truly apologize for keeping you waiting, he said. Please take a look and confirm whether this is the item you bid on. With that, he handed a jade box to Han Li. Han Li opened it without delay. Inside lay 3 crystals blazing with deep red light. Maintaining a composed expression, he lifted them one by one, examining them carefully in his hands. He remained silent for a long while. What, is there something wrong with the fire-smelt crystals? The old man asked with a friendly chuckle. There's nothing wrong, Han Li replied calmly with a nod. These are precisely the items I bid on. He then handed over the spirit stones, accepted the gems, and took his leave with a courteous salute. As Han Li departed, the old man glanced at the now empty jade box. His brows knit slightly, and a trace of doubt flickered through his eyes. Not long after, Han Li returned to his seat in the auction hall. With a faint flash of light, a fire-smelt crystal appeared in his hand. He studied the gem closely, a faint smile forming on his lips, his satisfaction unmistakable. The green-robed woman seated beside him noticed his expression and remarked, "Fellow Taoist must be quite wealthy to spend 800 spirit stones on merely 3 fire-smelt crystals." Han Li calmly turned his gaze toward her and replied evenly, "That's correct. I've been wanting to acquire these crystals for quite some time. Being able to purchase them has made this trip well worth it." The moment she met the glint in Han Li's eyes, the green-robed woman felt her heart tremble. For some reason, she found herself unable to say another word. The yellow-robed woman beside her noticed this reaction, her expression subtly changing as if she sensed something amiss. She too remained silent. With this unexpected gain secured, Han Li began to look forward to the remainder of the auction. At that moment, however, Monarch's soul divergence could no longer contain his curiosity. Youngster Han, his voice sounded within Han Li's mind. What exactly do those fire-smelt crystals have to do with Demon Core's care to enlighten me? Senior should have already guessed, Han Li replied calmly. One of those fire-smelt crystals is actually a grade 7 demon core. After the passage of countless years, its body crystallized completely, making it indistinguishable from a genuine fire-smelt crystal. Even cultivators with exceptionally powerful spiritual sense would be unable to detect the difference. A grade 7 demon core monarch soul divergence was startled, though not overly shocked. If neither spiritual sense nor outward appearance can reveal it, how are you able to see through it? Han Li let out a soft chuckle. This has to do with the baleful qi on my body. In the past, I personally slaughtered countless high-grade demon beasts, causing an extremely dense baleful qi to accumulate within me. When that grade 7 demon core was brought out, the baleful qi within my body stirred instinctively. Additionally, due to my extensive experience handling demon cores, I've developed a unique method of detecting them. So that's how it is, Monarch Soul Divergence chuckled. If you truly killed that many demon beasts, then the baleful qi surrounding you makes sense. Still, I find myself curious, how exactly did you manage to slay so many demon beasts? It seems you've kept quite a few old stories hidden from me. It was merely an opportunity I encountered in the past, Han Li replied lightly, unwilling to mention his years in the scattered star seas. He swiftly changed the subject. More importantly, I fear Senior may not be aware of the uses of a crystallized demon core. Oh, Monarch's soul divergent said with interest. This is also the first time I've heard of a demon core turning into crystal. What can it be used for? A crystallized demon core can no longer be considered a true demon core, Han Li said thoughtfully, stroking his chin. If used in pill refinement, it would instead produce a lethal poison, one capable of killing ordinary cultivators outright. However, it is an exceptional material for refining flying needles. It is said that a flying needle forged from this material travels at such speed that it strikes the enemy the instant it is released. Most terrifying of all, the needle becomes nearly invisible in flight, making it an ideal weapon for ambush and assassination. Unfortunately, crystallized demon cores are extraordinarily rare, and even fewer cultivators are capable of recognizing them. If not for the baleful qi on my body, I would not have detected it either. As it so happened, Han Li had once read a jade slip detailing the refinement method for flying needles crafted from demon cores. When he slew Zenith Yin's master in the scattered star seas, he had casually examined the jade slip out of curiosity. Only now, after obtaining the crystallized demon core, did that memory resurface. I've never heard of such a thing. Monarch Soul Divergent sighed. It truly seems the world is filled with countless bizarre wonders. I fear no cultivator has ever traversed every corner of the mortal realm. According to my knowledge, aside from our heavenly south, there are at least 6 other cultivation worlds. Some can be safely explored, while others are perilous beyond measure. In my lifetime, I visited 2 regions outside of Great Jin, but as my lifespan dwindled, I returned to the heavenly south and desperately researched methods to extend my life. As he spoke, his voice grew dim and listless. There's no need for Senior to feel so dejected, Han Li said softly. The cycle of life and death spares no one. Even if one ascends to the spirit realm, there's no guarantee of escaping the shackles of lifespan. One might simply enter a world filled with immortals. And for mortals like us, ascending to the spirit realm is unimaginably difficult. Only a handful have succeeded since ancient times. As he spoke, something stirred deep within Han Li. Heh. I'm still unwilling to give up Monarch Soul Divergence muttered. I've always believed my aptitude and intelligence placed me among the best of this world. Yet in the end, my soul became trapped within a puppet body, merely delaying my death. If fate grants me another opportunity, I'm certain I could enter the deity transformation stage without much difficulty. His voice gradually faded. Hearing this, Han Li felt a trace of sorrow rise in his heart. In the past, Monarch Soul Divergence had established a sect in the far west, unrivaled throughout the heavenly south, far more illustrious than Han Li himself, peerless in his era. Yet even he failed to step into the deity transformation stage. Such a pitiful end weighed heavily on Han Li's thoughts. This could very well be my own future, Han Li thought grimly. With that realization, his expression darkened, and he remained silent. The auction continued, the items growing ever more precious as time passed. Yet none of them stirred Han Li's interest. By the time the final magic treasures and pills were presented, his patience had worn thin. He rose and left the auction hall without hesitation, drawing puzzled glances from the 2 women seated beside him. After departing, Han Li paid no attention to the remaining booths. He exited the plaza and wandered aimlessly among several buildings. As he passed by foreign cultivators and disciples of the 3 noble clans, he scarcely spared them a glance. His steps were slow and measured as he gradually moved toward a more remote area. After the time it took to finish a cup of tea, Han Li stopped and looked to the side. He now stood before a building, within which a white-robed Foundation establishment cultivator lingered, glancing around as if waiting for someone. With an impassive expression, Han Li swiftly swept the area with his spiritual sense. There were no other cultivators nearby, nor were there any powerful restrictions. The nearest cultivators were more than 300 meters away, and unlikely to notice this place. Only then did Han Li approach. The fierce-looking man inside was startled by Han Li's sudden appearance and asked, "Does fellow Taoist have some business here?" Han Li smiled faintly. Are you a cultivator of the Kong clan? The large man sized Han Li up, noticing the numerous pouches hanging from his waist. Seeing that Han Li didn't resemble a wandering cultivator, he replied politely, "That's right. I am the Kong clan's chief attendant for external affairs. May I ask? I have several matters that require a discussion with your clan master," Han Li said amicably. "Would you be willing to inform him?" "Meet the clan master." The large man frowned. "I'm afraid that won't be possible. Our clan master is currently handling important affairs and cannot casually meet a stranger. If the matter is urgent, you may speak with me instead." Han Li hesitated deliberately before saying, "Very well. After leaving the auction hall, I discovered an issue with an item. I wish to discuss this matter with your clan master." The auction hall. Something wrong with an item? The large man stiffened. "If that's the case, shouldn't you bring this up with the auction hall's Taoists? It's not something the auction hall can resolve." Han Li sighed. "You'll understand once I show you the item." As he spoke, his hand moved toward a pouch at his waist. Seeing this, years of experience prompted the large man to unconsciously place his palm near his own waist. But when Han Li flipped his hand, he produced a gleaming red gem and held it out. The man's tension eased, his posture relaxing. "Isn't this a firesmelt gem?" he asked in confusion. "Why would you need to see the clan master over something like this?" As he reached out to take it, a wisp of blue flame suddenly burst forth from the gem. At such close range, the large man had no chance to dodge. Just as he was about to cry out, his head went numb, an icy chill surging through his body. In the next instant, his entire form was sealed within a layer of frost, completely immobilized. Han Li swept his sleeve, releasing a wave of blue light that wrapped around the frozen man and carried him deeper into the building. His figure blurred, and in the blink of an eye, Han Li followed inside. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.